Christmas everywhere goes to.
They say the village of Osimiri vanished on the first sunrise of the new year. No ruins, no bodies, no trace, just water. But nobody ever talks about what the villagers did on Christmas morning, because if you had been there that night, you would have seen the river boil and you would have heard a mermaid crying like thunder as she collapsed while cursing an entire village that thought Christmas was free. But let me start again, because this story did not just begin with a curse. It began with Christmas gifts. On Christmas morning, the villagers of Osimiri woke up to find a beautiful mermaid vomiting gifts by their village stream. Nobody questioned it because Osimiri was not a rich town. In fact, calling it developing was already an insult to development itself. The land was dry and cracked like an old man's leaves during Harmattan, and the only water source was Osimiri, a stubborn stream that refused to dry up no matter how angry the sun became. They said the stream was spiritual. They also said many foolish things. So when civilization finally started creeping into Osimiri like an uninvited guest, people were suspicious. A new road had appeared. A telecom mast had grown overnight like a metal tree. And rumors of electricity coming to town were moving faster than gossip at a naming ceremony. Then Christmas morning came, and with it came something mystical laying beside that stream. A woman, but not human. She was lying by the stream when they found her. She had dark skin glowing like polished bronze, hair floating even though she was on land, and a tail shimmering green and gold like a festival wrapper. Her eyes were open, tired, ancient, and full of stories nobody asked to hear. Her name was Nzodo, and she was a mermaid. She was beautiful in a way that made men forget their wives and made women adjust their wrappers aggressively. Upon seeing her, the children screamed, the women prayed, and the men did what men always do when they see something powerful they don't understand. They called the chief. Chief Kalu arrived, wearing his red cap and confidence that did not belong to him. He cleared his throat, lifted his walking stick and declared, tie her, and nobody asked why. The fishermen dragged Nzodo from the stream as she tried to explain in a voice soft like rain. She said she had crossed 7 seas. She said she had been banished from her kingdom for falling in love with a human. She said she was only looking for a resting place. But Chief Kalu did not hear love. He heard opportunity. The first strike landed on her back, and that was when something magical happened. Nzodo vomited a box. Inside it was a brand new television. The village went silent. Then another strike followed. Nzodo vomited bags of rice. The villagers froze. Then someone laughed. Then someone shouted, and in that moment, greed woke up. The flogging turned into a system, and the villagers cheered with every blow. Chief Kalu began chanting like a priest conducting sacrifice, and with every chant, the fishermen struck. With every strike, Nzodo vomited gifts, clothes, shoes, phones, mattresses, motorcycles, money wrapped neatly like Christmas knew it was coming. By afternoon, the riverside looked like a market sponsored by heaven. By dusk, Nzodo had vomited a mountain of gifts taller than any tree Osimiri had ever known. Somebody said it touched the clouds. Somebody else swore they saw angels counting the cartons, but nobody noticed Nzodo shaking. Nobody noticed blood mixing with water. They were too busy celebrating. The women carried gifts on their heads, singing Christmas songs that had been edited to include Chief Kalu's name. The young men loaded wheelbarrows until the wheels cried. Even children dragged toys bigger than themselves, laughing like joy had just been invented. At the village square, they lit a Christmas tree for the first time in Osimiri's history. They placed the gifts beneath it like sacrifices to prosperity itself. Nzodo was dragged along. They built her a cage surrounded by water so she wouldn't escape, so she would give more. That night, as the villagers danced till their legs forgot suffering, Nzodo sat in her cage with her hands on her stomach, whispering to something growing inside her. and the stream listened, because water never forgets. On the second day of Christmas, Osimiri forgot what hunger felt like. They also forgot what mercy meant. That morning came with the smell of fried rice, goat meat, and arrogance. Smoke rose from every compound, not from poverty this time, but from celebration. Children woke up wearing shoes that still squeaked. Women wore wrappers so bright the sun felt offended. Men argued loudly about whose gift was bigger, better, or more expensive, and at the center of it all sat Nzodo, still in her cage, still surrounded by water, still bleeding. Chief Carlo called a meeting before breakfast. He sat on his throne of borrowed confidence and declared that Christmas was not over yet. According to him, blessings that arrive once can arrive twice. He emphasized that Nzodo was not a visitor. She was an asset. Nobody corrected him. Instead, they went to the stream again. This time, the flogging was organized. There was a shadow. Young men volunteered to strike. Elders supervised. Women waited with baskets. Nzodo was no longer a miracle. She was a machine. A festive ATM with feelings nobody wanted to acknowledge. Each time she vomited gifts, cheers erupted. Someone even rang a bell. Nzodo begged. She said the sea was calling her. She said she was growing weak. She said something inside her needed peace, but her voice sounded like background noise to people who had discovered free abundance. When she collapsed the first time, they splashed water on her face. When she collapsed the second time, they complained she was slowing down. When she vomited blood instead of gifts, Chief Carlo ordered palm wine. They said she needed motivation. The days blurred into feasting. Christmas stretched unnaturally, refusing to end. New clothes appeared daily. Generators hummed through the night. Osimiri became loud, bright, and drunk on excess. Even neighboring villages came to witness the wonder, but Chief Carlo chased them away. Miracles, he said, do not like competition. Nzodo's belly began to swell. At first, nobody noticed. Then they noticed and laughed. They made jokes about mermaids giving birth to Christmas presents. Somebody suggested flogging harder so she would vomit twins. Laughter shook the trees. Nzodo cried until her tears joined the stream, and she decided to wear longer clothes to cover up her growing belly. At night, when the village slept, the water rose quietly around her cage. Fish gathered. The moon lingered. Nzodo sang songs older than land, songs about love, exile, and children born between wars. The stream listened, but Osimiri did not. On the fourth day of Christmas, Nzodo stopped producing gifts. No matter how hard they struck her, nothing came out. Panic spread faster than generosity ever did. The villagers argued. The fishermen blamed the elders. Chief Carlo, on the other hand, blamed the spirits. And the elders blamed Nzodo. They threatened her. The promise was. That night, Nzodo spoke clearly for the first time. She said, I was banished for loving a human because love breaks laws. You have imprisoned me for loving gifts because greed breaks worlds. Nobody clapped, but rather they increased the flogging. New Year's Eve approached, but Osimiri did not prepare for calendars. They prepared for consumption. They demanded televisions that talk back, money that never finished, food that cooked itself. Nzodo's body grew heavy, her breath shallow, her eyes dull like lambs about to die. Then it happened on New Year's Eve. She screamed. The scream cracked the night. It was not labor pain alone. It was grief forced into sound. The water surged violently, shaking the cage. Villagers scattered, but curiosity pulled them back. Nzodo clutched her stomach, crying out in a language that made the wind kneel. And before dawn touched the sky, she gave birth. The child did not cry. The child did not move. Silence fell. Nzodo held the still body against her chest, rocking slowly, humming through tears. The village watched, uncomfortable, unsure, suddenly sober. Even Chief Carlo stepped back, and the villagers knew they were finished. Nzodo looked up. Her eyes were no longer tired. They were furious. She stood, and water rose along with her. Her voice echoed across Osimiri as she spoke words that tasted like endings, and the stream began to remember everything. She laid her steel bun gently on the surface of the water, and for the first time since she arrived, the stream stood still. No ripples, no sound. Even the insects paused their singing like they were waiting for instructions. Nzodo rose slowly, her tail shining brighter than fire, her belly empty, her face carved with grief, sharp enough to cut time. Blood and water swirled around her cage, lifting it effortlessly like it weighed nothing at all. Chief Kalu tried to speak. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Nzodo pointed at him, then at the villagers, then at the mountain of gifts stacked proudly at the village square, glowing faintly under the Christmas lights that were still foolishly blinking. "You wanted plenty," she said calmly to the villagers. "You shall have it." Thunder rolled without clouds. The stream burst its banks. Water rushed into Osimiri with the hunger of something that had waited too long. Huts collapsed softly, like they were tired of standing. The Christmas tree caught fire at the strike of a lightning flash and drowned at the same time. Generators sparked, screamed, and went silent forever. People ran. But where do you run to when land remembers water? Nzodo lifted her hands, and the gifts began to melt. Televisions blended static into the flood. Money dissolved into a pulp. Clothes unraveled into threads that wrapped around ankles. The Honda motorcycle rusted instantly, crying metal tears. Chief Carlos slipped, and the water swallowed him midstream. Nobody helped. Who could? By midnight, Osimiri was no longer a village. It was a memory. The able-bodied men who once carried cartons now floated quietly. The women who sang carols hummed bubbles. The children's toys sang first, as if ashamed. Houses folded politely into the stream. Roads vanished, like lies exposed by daylight. Nzodo sang. Her song was not angry anymore. It was a lullaby. Fish circled her child, nudging it gently, guiding it back to where land could no longer hurt it. The water glowed briefly, then dimmed, and the cage shattered into nothing. As the new year announced itself elsewhere with fireworks and laughter, Osimiri sank completely, leaving behind a calm stretch of water that looked innocent to anyone who did not know better. Nzodo turned toward the horizon and swam away. She did not look back. At the break of dawn, Osimiri was never seen again. Some travelers on foot passed by where the village used to be. They found no ruins, no bodies, no signs of celebration. Only a wide, quiet stream flowing peacefully, reflecting the sky like nothing had ever happened. Birds perched comfortably. Fish jumped playfully. The land nearby was green again, healed unnaturally fast. Someone asked where the village went. An old woman hawking kola nuts shook her head. "This place," she said, "there was never a village here. But sometimes on Christmas mornings, the water glows strangely, and sometimes people swear they hear singing, soft, sad, and beautiful. They say if you look closely, you might see gifts floating briefly on the surface before sinking again, as if reminding the world of something it refuses to learn." The moral of the story is that greed is evil, and when it is left unchecked, it can consume a person's thoughts and control their emotions or actions, causing them to harm themselves or those around them. So, we must learn to be contented with whatever help we receive or the blessings that come our way. Some blessings are not owned, they are borrowed, and borrowed things must be returned gently. Nzodo did not curse Osimiri because they were poor. She did not destroy them because they asked for help. She ended them because they mistook mercy for entitlement, miracles for machines, and a living being for a Christmas decoration. So, if you ever find something magical in your hands, something wounded or out of the ordinary, ask yourself one question before you touch it. Is it a gift, a test, or a curse? Because karma remembers everything, and she always comes back for what is stolen. If this story moved you, like this video and subscribe to the channel for more timeless African folk tales just like this one. And tell me in the comment section, would you have freed the mermaid or taken the gift? See you in the next video.